In today's video, I'm going to share how we have our pixel set up for our high ticket VSL call funnel as well as our low ticket ascension funnel, how these two connect, the different events we are firing at each phase of the funnel, and then if you stick around till the end, I'm going to share how we fire browser and server events for purchases that happen over Zoom or call, because it's a huge issue in tracking. All right. So last year we did 30 million in cash collected in 2024, and I make all these videos on the channel just to share what did work, what did not work, and what we are actively doing to scale to 100 million a year, all with the goal of finding top talent, opportunities, and building a solid network of people doing the same. All right, so let's get into it. So first things first, as just kind of like a little explainer, this is mainly going to be me talking for Meta. It does work for Google in the same way or very similar way, but just for ease of conversation, we'll just say Meta. So what we're going to want to do is you're going to have browser events and server events, and you'll hear this kind of all over the place, but browser is essentially just when you have the pixel installed on site, and it's when a user goes to something on site, it fires back to Facebook. So it's capturing the information it can about a person from them being on site. Server is what you're collecting and then passing back through the conversion API. Okay, so different tools, like we have Hyros installed, and we're not currently using it to send to the pixel, and we have a custom setup currently installed that I'm going to go through it here. But Hyros essentially does the server side, and then just having the pixel on your site does the browser. And the main goal is to get these to match. So if you look at like your leads, for example, and you look in the back office of Events Manager, your main goal is to have those two lines align. So browser and server are the same, and then you're deduplicating. So you're not firing it as twice, but you're just showing that they're matched. So the same person who's on site is what you're sending server, and it aligns because then Facebook's like, okay, cool, the person actually was there, and they're sending us more information from server. So to go through the funnel, opt-in page currently, they come in, give us name and email, and then they land on one of these two, VSL pages, okay? On this, we are gonna fire the lead event. Everything we're going to try and optimize for, and there's guys who have really good videos about this. Jeremy Haynes has really good videos about pixel training, and this is just our setup of this, but he goes very in depth into how you want to use default conversion events, because then you can basically use all the other people that use Facebook for those default conversion events, and it'll find from that pocket. Versus if you use a custom conversion, you're basically just using only your data and only your portion, when this allows basically better training on the entire Facebook algorithm. So for us, we're going to fire a lead, and then someone's going to land on this application page. Now, when somebody applies, they are going to get routed based on a financial qualifier in ours. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this on lead scoring, and this is very common practice now. But for us, we essentially have, if it's less than 1K, 1 to 5K, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, and 20 plus, I believe. And on those, excuse me, for us, we just use the less than 1K as a DQ, okay? And then anything above that comes through. So for the bookings, when they land on the booking page, that is going to be a native event of a submit application, okay? Because when they finish the application, they land on the booking page. Now, down here, what we'll do is, depending on how much availability we have, if we need more bookings, we actually allow them to book. So there's actually like a little toggle here that routes them. But if we need more bookings on day into the next day, we'll allow them to book through a DQ, which goes to a different round robin and Calendly that'll have just less quality, or like not as experienced reps. So either people ramping or those who are kind of like down in the bucket that just don't have as high a sale per booking. So we'll still allow the bookings to come through, but we will not pass the information to the pixel. Okay, so that's the key here on the pixel training. And the other, I'll go into this in a second. Once they land on here, they will book a call, and that will fire a schedule event. Okay, so all we're firing on the main VSL is going to be a lead, a submit app, and a schedule. Okay, we'll get into purchases over here. Now, why it's important is because on page we have this installed, so it's firing the lead, the submit app, and the schedule. And on the back end, on the conversion API, we are firing as much information as we have on that person back as a server event too. So you're getting a browser and a server for a lead, for a submit app, and a schedule. Okay. Now, DQ, nothing happens. Nothing. I mean, like the pixel's installed, but there's no events that actually occur. So to fire. And then when we are full calendars pack, we actually pass them over to the low ticket. So I have over here, we have two different pixels. You're gonna have the main pixel and the low ticket pixel. So the main pixel is this blue that's firing all these places here. Low ticket, both of these places right here are inflows. This opt-in page for the VSL for the free training, and then these actually technically all as one. And then we're just running a three-way split right now. I just want to show you. So this will get. This actually has the green, but this gets traffic direct to it, and it also gets it through this VSL funnel. So once these come in, they're going to land on a front-end sales page for the low ticket, and it's basically a two-step. So in order to check out, they have to put in their name and email, and they go to a secondary page, and that for us fires a lead event. We also have an initiate checkout I don't know if it's going to fit in this box. It's not, but you know what I mean. Int checkout, we'll do that. So lead is going to fire when they get to the second page. Initiate checkout is going to fire when they start doing it. So with JavaScript on page, it's when they're actually starting to fill out the form, it'll fire initiate checkout. They'll then land on the success page, which is a purchase. So all you're getting is a lead, then when someone's filling it out, initiate checkout, and then a purchase on these. Now these, we then have a booking widget, okay? So in current form, we have nothing here, but these bookings are gonna go in and book with a setter, all right? So these are not the same quality type of bookings as somebody who is booking up here direct after being qualified and through this. So we do a layer of talking to a setter as like essentially like a triage and lead filtering. So for this, we currently don't have anything, but we're talking about putting a custom conversion in here. That's going to be like a custom schedule. So not the main schedule because we don't want to pollute it with that, but we're in talks right now. We have nothing. They land on this and then they fill out an application that just gives us more context for the setter. Okay. So to zoom out of here, you have two different pixels. You have the green down here, which is going to be the low ticket. And then you have the blue up here, which is going to be the VSL main. All right. And the same thing works as we're rolling out more and more. So when we're going to have another secondary VSL, another secondary low ticket that's in a different niche or more so like an angle. So let's say like menopause versus macronutrient, we would have a completely different pixel setup for a completely different low ticket, right? So we're not going to pollute them with the same. So you're going to have one pixel for low ticket menopause, one for VSL menopause. You're going to have one for macronutrient low ticket. You're going to have all these different pixels for each one to keep them dedicated and trained. Okay. And generally speaking, it's the same thing with the ad account that's going to be running through that. So you're going to have the different ad account with a different pixel with a different funnel. Okay. And dedicated. Same thing with Google. We have a complete dupe of this for Google so that we don't blend the traffic. Up here, we still have one main and like supposedly that's not how you're supposed to do it. So we're working on fixing that. And as we roll out this low ticket, we're working on fixing that. But that's how we fire these through directly, okay? So the next question is what happens after this? So they either talk to a setter, talk to a closer, everything else is happening in HubSpot. So we've collected all this information. We're storing it in HubSpot for the server side, as well as we do have Hyros on. Hyros is kind of like a quick, easy fix to this server side. It just doesn't get as much information necessarily, but because it stores the fingerprints and like the multiple attribution sources, it's all baked into a profile in Hyros. And then you're able to just send that on Stripe purchase or on whatever to make it as a purchase. We're trying something different that we've been trying for about 6 months. That's all custom. That's storing everything in HubSpot custom. And then the browser stuff is all happening just the same way, basically. Now, this part is kind of the fun part. So for this, when someone buys, they're buying over the phone or over Zoom, right? So we're on right now. I give you the credit card information, you purchase, and why that's not great is because the customer never actually did anything on page to check out. So different than like physical e-com where someone's checking out, it can easily fire pixel and server because the person's on page doing it for the browser. Server side is just everything that was collected, send that, and they're both matching. Cool. But for call funnels and high ticket stuff like this, or basically we're just taking it, it's considered an offline conversion and there's no easy way out of the box. Hyros does it, but again, it has to like collect all that fingerprint information, the amounts. So if you're doing custom pay plans, someone pays 2K, then 5K, it counts as 2 purchases. You got to merge them and then send it. Like it just gets a little messier as you start to scale, unless you're just selling one standardized thing, one price over the phone, all in Hyros, easy, simple. But as you get to kind of a little more custom, it breaks a little bit. So what we have here is we're going to fire a purchase to the low ticket or a purchase to so either this pixel or this pixel, dependent on the source they came to start, right? So if they came through the low ticket, then they ended up talking to a setter, getting on a closer calendar and purchased. That purchase we have tracked inside HubSpot that's going to know if their initial source was through the VSL funnel or through here. Now, you're going to have people that did both like a lot of the time. But if they did low ticket, you're going to want to attribute it to the low ticket because that's where they came from, right? The whole idea here is you're training the pixel on their actual source. And we were trying to keep this as clean as possible. And this is kind of like an ever-changing thing. So I will be able to update this into the future. But we're going to route them first thing. So you're going to pick. And for us, instead of firing it on like a checkout page like you could on low ticket, like on these, for example, this is super easy to do server and browser. We're going to fire it on our terms page. This is a cool workaround that we figured out. So sales rep checks out the person over the phone. They fill out their information in the order form or their buy link or their whatever, sends them a dedicated terms link that has tracking in it that will autofill some of the information basically like in a hidden form inside a jot form for us. And then on submission, that'll fire the browser and the server event. Okay, so instead of it just firing the server event very easily from the buy link, cool, but there was never any browser event. And Facebook loves browser events because they can see the person's actually taking the action. So by just sending them a dedicated terms link, we can capture the browser and the server, and then route back, get the deal amount. That's a total amount that they assigned in HubSpot, can get all the hidden, hidden fields, but deeper data. That's everything from like the IP address, the first source, the click, the Facebook ID, like all those different pieces are stored in HubSpot and can be sent together. So this is how we're looking at it. We changed this about 6 months ago. We have about the same results. There's a ton of people who have done this who have crazy better results, but our issue is more so around how we've been running marketing and sales at that time. But this setup itself is like matching, it works. So right now we're duping this entire thing out, and soon we will be for Google as well. But this whole thing is going to be tested out in Google and duped. Something we did here on this is that like you can't send purchases back to both, for example. So like if someone bought, paid $7,200, you can't fire that purchase on server side back to both of these. I guess that's like against terms. Some people do it and say they have good results. We don't. We just pick one and we go back and forth depending. But yeah, I hope this kind of gives a brief intro into this. I really want to go into another video on these about like costs and percentages through and how much routing and like these, what percentage they close at versus these. But yeah, it's all work in progress. All these videos are me just sharing what we're actively doing, not necessarily what is 100% the right way. We don't know. We're just trying to, like I said up here, we're just trying to show what did work, what didn't work, and what we are actively doing. So subscribe onto here if you want to see more of these. Comment, let me know what you want more info on, and then Instagram always for DMs and communication and all that. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk with you all soon.